Yitz, clock is ticking, almost the end of the year. 2 Parshiyot to talk. Should we talk some Parsha?
Yeah, definitely. Let's go.
So this week we find 2 Parshiyot, Parshat Nitzavim, Parshat Vayelech, getting close towards the end of the Torah. And as we're approaching the end of the Torah, we'd expect HaKadosh Baruch Hu to call over Moshe and to let him know that he's about to die and give him those last few words, that last commandment to give to Am Yisrael. And yet when we look at Parshat Vayelech, we see HaKadosh Baruch Hu really calling Moshe over and telling him that he's about to die. Call over Yeshua, get prepared. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe, by the way, after you die, Am Yisrael will go into Eretz Yisrael, and everything you've been worried about is going to happen. They're going to go after the idols in the land of Israel and follow the nations there, and we'll forget everything you taught them. Is this the way Moshe Rabbeinu has to leave Am Yisrael? Are these the last few words that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling Moshe Rabbeinu before he dies?
Totally unexpected. Instead of giving him these comforting words, it's all going to go wrong. And if we look further there in the Psukim, it becomes even more strange as we continue to read, because then Hashem comes and says, so teach them this song, and this song is going to be as a testimony. It's not so clear a testimony to what. And then it goes on to say that I'm going to bring them to the land, and when everything goes wrong, they're going to remember this testimony. And what are they going to remember? That I knew they were going to mess up. So what's really going on here? And I think to really understand what's going on here is to understand this concept of testimony. This song, Shirat Ha'azinu, according to Parshat, is going to be some sort of testimony to something. What is this something, and why do we have to remember this so much? Why does this have to be one of the last things we hear from Moshe Rabbeinu? When we look at the Psukim and read it right through, I think it opens up a very fascinating way of looking at things. Moshe Rabbeinu is told things are going to go wrong, and Hashem says, I'm going to turn away from them, and then says, you should teach them this song and put it in their mouths. This song should be as a testimony. What is the testimony? That I knew he was going to do this before. I knew that he was going to mess up. Again, a very strange thing to say. You're testifying that you knew. Why do you want to tell them that? Leave them with the optimism. They're entering the land now. Let them be hopeful that they're going to do the right thing. Why do you want them to know this? But I think it's teaching us a very, very deep statement. In Chinuch, we sometimes say that when your child comes up to you and find out that he did something really, really bad, you shouldn't show that you're surprised and say something like, I can't believe that you would do something like that, which is a natural response. But that's something that has a very bad impact, because the child hears that and says, wait a minute, so I surprised my father. Maybe he only loved me because he thought that I was someone who couldn't do something like that. And now that he found out that I could, I'm not the same kid he thought. Maybe he doesn't love me anymore. And I think that this is exactly what's happening here. Moshe Rabbeinu is very worried about Am Yisrael forgetting HaKadosh Baruch Hu and leaving the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and ending up having to be kicked out of the land. This is Moshe Rabbeinu's fear. But I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a larger fear. The biggest fear is if you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu choosing Am Yisrael, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's love to Am Yisrael was only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu thought everything's going to be fine, we're going to be good boys, and it's all going to be okay, and that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu loved us. But when suddenly things don't go that way, and we mess up, and we're kicked out, and we're distant, as the Pasuk says, we say, Al ki ein Elohai bekirbi matzoni arot. I don't have God within me anymore, and that's why I am where I am. And Reb Simcha Buni Mipshischa says, the problem is that they think that God left them. They think that God isn't with them. It doesn't work like that. The other nations will tell you, yeah, you messed up. God has left you. You were the chosen people. There are new chosen people now. But Hashem says it doesn't work like that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's love to Am Yisrael is eternal. No matter what happens, no matter where you'll be, the most important thing I want you to remember is not that you'll be good and everything's going to be good. No. What I want you to remember forever, and I want you to teach forever. I'm not bringing you into Eretz Yisrael because I think you'll be perfect. I'm bringing you into Eretz Yisrael even though that I knew before bringing you into Eretz Yisrael, Yadati et Yitzro asher hu aseh hayom. I know who you are. Despite of all this, I chose you. This is key to being able to leave Galut. As long as I understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still there, Imo anochi b'tzara, he hasn't left me, his love hasn't left me, I feel that desire, HaKadosh Baruch Hu still wants me back, that creates a clear pathway back home.
Right, and very relevant for our days today as we are towards the last week of the year. We know in many places in both for the last week of the year, and also for Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, those are the days that are influenced the most on the year we had and on the year to come, where it's brought down that on these specific days, one should be a little extra better each day of the coming week. And I've said you make tshuva, you can correct the year we had and also try to get better in order to have a better year that is coming towards us. And obviously many times we look back at the year and we say to ourselves, well, we didn't do that well. Are we really welcome back, or can we really influence a year to come? Just like what you were saying, Hakadosh Baruch Hu tells us in this week's Parsha, He knows what's going on. He knows we are humans. He knows what happens in this world. You mentioned the testimony that Moshe Rabbeinu had to write down the edut, which in this Parsha, the Torah, is called shira, a song. One of the most amazing things about songs, a song is a combination of words and a tune. It's a harmony that goes together, and what it does is it awakens you up, and you don't even have to know the words in order to sing a song. Or on the other hand, when you hear a song being played from far, you can recognize it just by the tune, just by the notes. You don't even have to hear all the notes. Many of us have been davening last few months outside where the chazan is far away. You don't always hear what he says, but you know he's in Kedusha because you hear the tune. You know he's in Kaddish because you hear that little part before Am Yisrael. So with a song, you don't always have to hear the words. You don't even have to know the words. Your connection with a song is a lot greater than the words. A song touches a deeper point in a human being other than words, more than words. And sometimes it's not even the tune, it's not even the words, it's even just a dance. Like we say in Nishmat on Shabbos, Ilu Finu Maleh Shira Kayam. Sometimes so many words can't describe a song, and on the other side, Rav Soloveitchik describes it as sometimes you can't even find the words to express a song, it just comes out from your heart. So the same thing, the Torah, the same thing, this testimony is within us, it's inside us. We just have to let it come out. We just have to let it be and take us back towards where we're supposed to be. This is probably one of the main reasons why Parshat Vayelech is always either read right before Rosh Hashanah or right after Rosh Hashanah, because that's what the Torah is about. It's about reminding us of the relationship we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu to get us back to our place right before Rosh Hashanah.
So there's the famous saying of Baal HaTanya, Hamelech HaSadeh, describing Elul as the month where the king is in the field. We should have thought that the king is in the field after Rosh Hashanah, right? We accept him as king. That's when he's there. But it's actually saying what we've been saying now. The king is there. That's what brings us back. That's not what we achieve after coming back. The key to being able to come back is understanding that the king comes out to us. The king is in the field. We just need to use that opportunity and realize, as you said, that inner voice that's there that knows that we do have a pathway back, and to use that opportunity of Chodesh Elul to really reach Rosh Hashanah the way we want to reach it.
Exactly. And as we are, thank God, closing off this year with everything we had throughout the year, we have to remember that we're not defined by anything external to us, but rather by how we perceive reality, how we internalize it within us, and even more so, how do we react to what is happening. As we are in the last week of the year and we went through such a crazy year, it's about what we take from this year with us onwards, and the rest we can leave behind us and continue Bezrat Hashem with all our prayers to a great and a better and a healthier and a more wonderful new year.
Amen.
Great. Shkoyach.
See you.
Good Shabbos, and we'll talk again next week. For more Talking Torah videos on different topics, check out our YouTube channel.